Welcome to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bonati alongside Ethan Youker. We have a jam-packed show lined up for you. Let's get started. Some of the world's most powerful creators of AI are sounding the alarm that technology could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment in the next 1 to 5 years. Joining us to discuss is Marc Beckman, author of Some Future Day, How AI is Going to Change Everything. Thank you for joining us, Marc.
Kimberly, great to see you. Ethan, it's nice to see you too. How are you today?
We're doing good. So do you actually think we're headed towards white-collar bloodbath because of AI?
I do. I certainly do. I think artificial intelligence has been hovering over blue-collar jobs, which we'll see without a doubt the elimination of several jobs vis-a-vis automation and robotics. People have ignored white-collar jobs, Kimberly, and I have to tell you, those professions are in the line of fire. Think in terms of law, architecture, accounting, my world, advertising, and certainly the medical industry as well. However, I still remain an optimist. I got to be honest with you, like any new big emerging technology, including even the introduction of automobiles, new jobs come, new career ecosystems develop, and artificial intelligence will have that same impact with white collar jobs too.
Just have to throw in here, because I've seen too many sci-fi movies.
Both of us have.
Is this going to be humans now working for the computer, or are they going to still be working for us?
Skynet taking over?
Okay. Well, let's slow down a little bit. Let's not be, totally scared. We're not running into a Terminator situation.
Okay.
What we're doing here is providing society with the ability to improve across 3 pillars radically, and in my opinion, within 3 to 5 years. Careers, create new value, financial value. A lot of your audience might be small business owners or individual entrepreneurs. They could unlock the tools for artificial intelligence to improve their careers immediately. The second piece is their families. And the third area that they can improve is their communities, their cities. Now, will we get to the point where robotics are introduced? Imminently, for sure. In fact, we're talking about more affordable robotics through people like Elon Musk. And those robotics, first, what you're talking about is humanoids, will come in and help us with, those household chores that we all hate. Think in terms of food shopping, stocking the shelves, cleaning the laundry, all of these types of remedial tasks that take up a lot of time and don't allow us to invent and spend time with our loved ones. Those are all going to we're all going to move away from that. At some point, though, and it's in the immediate future, it's not too far off, we're going to see this convergence between machines and man. Neuralink, Elon Musk also has this item, is already putting chips in brains of individuals. And in New York City, where I'm from, 3 patients have already had chips built into their brains to help them beat paralysis. Through artificial intelligence, with chains that have been inserted into their brains, they've been able to move and feel again. So we're going to that point, but we don't have to be afraid of it, Kimberly. The robots are not taking over the world.
If they're AI, though, they have unlimited resources. How is it that they won't be appalled that we're just having them do those mundane tasks?
I'm not mopping your floor. Beat it. I'm a super intelligent robot. What are you doing?
Kimberly, here's the thing, Ethan, Robots are coming in all shapes and forms. I have a very close relationship with a colleague of mine who owns one of the biggest, probably top 3 drone companies in the world. It's a robot. It just doesn't take on a humanoid type of shape. Now think in terms of an AI that's flying, right? That's what drones are. So I asked him this same exact question recently, and his answer is, they're building kill switches into the algorithms to ensure that, God forbid, the robots feel like they're going a little too far, they turn them off.
There was a group of researchers that targeted different AIs, and it was something as simple as a round of math questions. And they told the AIs first, you may not be able to complete the tasks. Stop when you're told to stop, right? So that was the program. And there were a couple that didn't listen. They rewrote their kill switch to jump over it to still tackle the mission, so to speak. It's a little scary.
I think we're Yeah, we're all reading the same stories, and I think that's really interesting. But the reality is that artificial intelligence at the end of day is algebra.
Yeah.
It's math, and we control that. If people are concerned about algebra taking over the world and pointing missiles back at us and controlling the universe, it's not about the AI that we need to be fearful of, Kimberly. It's the people. Think about this. Guns don't kill people. It's
Correct.
the person pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
And artificial intelligence needs to be considered as a tool. If the tool is put into the hands of a bad actor and it's being controlled in that way, we could have repercussions. We could have negative repercussions, in fact. However, if we're responsible and mature and adult-like and we start to treat AI in a way where it's like a child, we take care of it the right way, we will be fine.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Marc Beckman after this. You are watching American Medicine Today.
I went to Dr. Bonati and he went ahead and looked at my pictures. He told me, you have pain here, you have pain here. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'd been to others, but he was a doctor that didn't want to fillet my back open like a fish and do like open spine surgery because everybody else wanted to do that and I was not having it. The anesthesiologist who was working with me, I was like having a conversation with this guy and then I was watching on the monitor as Dr. Bonati is fixing my back. I really felt like I was in good hands.
Bonati succeeds where others fail. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. We're rejoining the discussion with Marc Beckman.
Your book explores the whole question of what counts as human, which I find very, very interesting because, again, like Kimberly, I'm a huge sci-fi person, reading about Isaac Asimov through, my teen years and all of that and the 3 rules of robotics and, they can do no harm to people and all this stuff. But again, that's science fiction. As we see this stuff, this technology start to become a reality. And again, not to play on the fears, because I know you're an optimist, but back to the question of what counts as human, at what point, if ever, will these AI machines become sort of prescient, I guess is the word, or cognizant, aware that they exist, conscious?
Right. So, Ethan, what you're talking about is barreling towards something that people in the industry call AGI, artificial general intelligence. And effectively what happens is this is the tipping point. This is when, in fact, the artificial intelligence is training itself. It's educating itself at a way that's higher than humans, at a pace more rapid than humans have trained it before. Now, here's the thing. Let's be honest again. When you talk about being prescient, that issue of like humanity, algebra cannot copy that. So I get into this issue of man versus machine in my book. I think I talk about it in the creative industries. And the reality of the fact is that humans are going to beat machines all day long because the machines will never have what we have, emotions, feeling. They could replicate that through the use of imagery and video and words, but they're not going to be like the 3 of us who are talking right now. They don't have those emotions. So if you want to use artificial intelligence to write a song right now, let's say it's an anthem about freedom, you could go ahead and quickly develop beautiful lyrics with catchy music and even ship it out across different streamers right now, right this second. But the reality is it will never beat Bob Dylan's songs about freedom because he knows the pulse of humanity. He understood what we needed as humans. Machines can't do that. It's just impossible.
What about something like deep fakes? How do we know what's real when we see it?
Kimberly, deep fakes are horrific right now, and we're going to keep barreling into an area that's going to get more and more dangerous. This part of my book, I would highly recommend if your audience is curious about AI, they should pick this up because it's time to protect yourself from deep fakes. First of all, we talked about bad actors. This is a perfect example to bring that part of the conversation back to the forefront. Deepfakes are already being used through the use of synthetic voices, exact replicas of voices. Kimberly, it could be your voice. It could be Ethan's voice. Like a bad actor could take your voice from all of these shows that you're doing, replicate it. It's identical and use that voice to call, let's say, someone that you love and pretend that you're in dire need for $25,000. These types of fraudulent crimes are happening already. They're preying on octogenarians in the Florida area. In fact, I have a friend who her parent recently received a call of this nature. But deepfakes are going even further. nations to nations are now using it in a way to create propaganda wars. So Reuters just about 6 weeks ago reported that China stood up a full deep fake campaign using AI to push content into Taiwan that was anti-American and anti-democratic. They're trying to separate the Taiwanese base from allowing for America to do what it is that we do as it relates to freedom and democracy. We're living in a time that's not like when we grew up, when our parents would tell us seeing is believing. Right. Now, seeing is not believing.
Correct.
Hearing should definitely not be believing. And if you read it, check again. Yep. So I tell my children, my 16-year-old son and my 8-year-old daughter, if you see something, verify it. Start with the fact that it's not true and then figure out whether or not it's authentic.
And going back to the deep fakes, this goes back in my mind to when I was young and my mother gave me a safe word. I remember it to this day. So it would be, if you get a phone call or something saying, I need help, ask for that safe word.
I thought you were going to give out your safe word.
No.
You still need it.
In public forum? Come on now. But thank you so much for being on the program.
Kimberly. It's a good idea. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Mark.
Marc Beckman, author of Some Future Day, How AI is Going to Change Everything. Thanks for being on the show.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. Make sure you stay tuned. We'll have more after the break. You are watching American Medicine Today. Jose is from Hernando County, Florida, and he's a proud family man, athlete, and local business owner.
My wife and I have been married almost 10 years now. We have a little boy. I played baseball for many years. Very hard. Pete Rose, they say. But that's really much about me. I mean, just an active person. The pain started some weird way. I was sick. I was in bed for about 4 days. I woke up crooked, sideways. The pain started on my lower back and ran down my left leg all the way down to my toes. It was very hard to get up.
Jose first attempted conservative treatments to resolve his pain.
I did the icy hot. I pretty much, went to Walgreens, go down that aisle, and I did it all. So I went to a chiropractor, got some relief, but later on, I got worse. Went to physical therapy. Then after that, I decided went to orthopedic. They really gave me nothing, just pain meds.
Every part of his life was affected by his agony.
Oh, it affected it. It really did. Waking up in the morning, rolling out of bed, to crawl to the bathroom, to use the tub to get up to start my day was brutal. Wasn't able to help my son in baseball. Couldn't work with him. Really couldn't do much. I mean, I was laying on the floor. My wife and I couldn't do much. Couldn't go out because I was such in pain.
He lived like this for 7 months until finally realizing he needed surgical intervention.
I Googled the pain, realized it's more than a sciatic nerve, could be a herniated disc, and started looking at herniated disc institutes or surgery, and Bonati Spine popped up. There was no other institute compared to what Bonati Spine has done. The success rate, the fact of his study and the patents that he's done and the work that he's done behind. I literally did my homework with all the institutes that popped up. There was no one that came near the success rate. They understood that you're coming in here for pain and you're looking for relief. They did my blood pressure, they did the blood work within the 30 minutes, sent me to the next department to get my MRI and X-ray done. You don't have to wait for a prescription or a referral to go somewhere else. The convenience of having everything there was just a necessity.
All consultations at the Bonati Spine Institute include one-on-one meetings with the nursing staff and a Bonati surgeon.
They went over my X-rays and my MRIs. He actually told me, because I ended up having 5 herniated discs, which disc is the issue. His knowledge and understanding of my situation, of my case, I would have done the surgery right there and then.
Jose was scheduled for one procedure to eliminate his herniated disc at L5-S1.
The morning of surgery was a little nerve-wracking. This is my first operation. I've never had an operation before. The staff was very cool, very amazing, very comforting. They walked me in. They told me the situation, how we were going to do it. Tell my family goodbye, give them a kiss, and that I will see them within the hour and a half. And they just escorted me to the back.
In the Bonati recovery room, pain relief can be felt immediately.
I felt it instantly. Even though I was laying down, I was able to move my left toes without pain. So that I felt that immediately. And I said, hey, I'm here, I'm ready. So they asked me to sit up and march, which I thought was very odd. I was like, okay, I haven't been able to walk in 7 months. And I cried because there was no pain. I was able to march like the military. You see the military, it was insane how quickly the pain was gone. The day of when I got home after my surgery, it was the first time in 7 months I was able to sit on my couch. Oh, it was, it was pretty cool because my dad and my mom, they cried. My in-laws were amazed because they know me. I'm a very happy, funny, go-lucky guy, always on the go, messing with everybody, trying to make everyone laugh. And I wasn't like that for 7 months. I couldn't make anyone laugh because I couldn't laugh myself. My son was crying. My wife was amazed. I'd say from my experience, don't wait that long. Don't live in misery. Bonati Spine really understands the back and how important it is in your body. And if you're having it injured, it doesn't matter what, don't wait that long. Have them overlook you. And you can do normal things, but don't lift anything. Just don't stretch or anything like that. Other than that, there was no back brace, there was nothing like that, just a bandage over the procedure. I went to work the next day. I work on the desk, I was able to work the next day, and they're straight up honest with you. Just have them look at your back. And so, yeah, I'm extremely happy.
To see more stories of recovery just like this, search for the Bonati Spine Institute on YouTube, Rumble, Apple's App Store, Google's Play Store, Roku, and Amazon's Fire TV. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. An organ procurement organization representing the greater New York metro region has seen a 70% increase in organ donations in the last 3 years after naming a new leader. And he joins us now. Please welcome Leonard Atchin, CEO of Live On New York, to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, and we appreciate being here.
Years ago, you worked as a critical care nurse for Mount Sinai Hospital and often questioned why so many patients died waiting for transplant. Is that correct?
Sure. Started my career there back in '98, was a critical care nurse, and cared for that patient population without connecting the purpose of a donor to a recipient while waiting for those who wanted to live on. Thanks to the grace of a donor, just really didn't think about the donors were right there, and the donors wanted to give somebody the chance to continue to live on and have a legacy for themselves.
I remember way back in the day when I first got started in broadcasting, I worked on a morning radio show, and we did a whole campaign. Do you remember the Got Milk ads? We did one called Got Organs. And
wow.
We just went around and got people signed up. This is in upstate New York in the Albany area. And we got a couple 100,000 people to sign up. So I guess my question is, why is it so important that people register to be organ donors?
Sure. You know, what we realized is when we came into the organization, and Live On traditionally, the New York metro region was one of the lower performers in the United States. And a big part of that, when we looked at it, was simply asking the question. To your point, people just needed to be asked the question. So very similarly to you doing that back then, we did the same thing, but we did it in the hospitals where about 80% of the people that we approach are not registered donors, the families. The problem was we were not asking the New York community, and we knew, everybody's generous. The United States is a generous country. New Yorkers are generous, but the question had to be asked and answered.
And do you have any numbers on how many folks, pass away waiting for an organ each year?
Yeah, I mean, there are thousands who pass away each year. There is approximately 106,000 people right now on the wait list in the United States. In New York, for example, if you look state by state, it's different, but it's about 9,000. But back at the macro level in the U.S., 80% of the people on the wait list are waiting for kidneys to save their life. They're on dialysis. Many of them are disabled. They can't work. They can't contribute to the American dream, provide for their families. But thousands of people die a year waiting for organs. And really, that's just kidney.
And you were named CEO of Live On New York 3 years ago, and you were told that there were basically no organs to deal with, correct?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm a hospital operator and executive, left bedside within a few years and have been a healthcare executive, an operator, business person ever since. So came in from the hospitals, and I was a part of the problem. As a born and raised New Yorker, as a nurse practitioner, as a healthcare executive, we were not educated. The culture for New York didn't build up. So came in, the organization had 12 months before CMS was going to shut it down. It was on, probation per se for about a decade. And they said, look, people are dying. Could you look at this from an outside perspective, from the hospital side perspective, come in and make an attempt at turning it around? And nothing dramatic or innovative or magical was done. We looked at the original reason that people set up organ procurement organizations and made an entire charter around the 56 of them that are in the US. And we went back to the basics. And the basics were show up and ask people if they're willing to save a life when they pass away. And the answer was a resounding yes. And that's increased about 70%, a significant and transformational opportunity, but only because of the grace of our community.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Lenia Chan after this. You are watching American Medicine Today. Don't be screwed by lesser spine institutes who bait you with minimally invasive procedures, then switch to screws, rods, disc replacements, and hardware. At Bonati, no metal hardware fusions are ever used. Bonati invented the precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine Procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. We're continuing our discussion with Lenia Chan. I'm going to say something, and I'm not doing this to be confrontational, so please don't take it as such, but there's so much on social media and the internet talking about how sometimes people are being called brain dead who are organ donors, just in an effort to procure organs. Can you dispel some of that for the viewers and listeners?
Yeah, sure. So recently in the media, there is an article about one of the hospitals and organ procurement organizations. So when you become a donor, there are two different paths in donation. You could be a living donor, which is a totally different way to become an organ donor and help a community member, family, friend, even a stranger. In order to be a deceased donor, you have to be pronounced. The hospital has to pronounce you as brain dead or give you a certified time of death, CTOD, certified by the institution. An organ procurement organization has no rights, obligation, cannot procure organs unless a patient is pronounced dead and becomes a donor.
Where can people learn more about Live On New York?
Sure. liveonny.org. And then, look, we just encourage people to have the conversation at home with family. If you'd like to be an organ donor or go in the registry, national or your state registry, sign up to be a donor or not. But as long as you have that opportunity to make that decision, that's what we're all about.
Thank you for being on the program to make sure that we can save people's lives. Lenia Chan, CEO of Live On New York. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Take great care.
Thanks so much.
Well, that wraps up this edition of American Medicine Today. If you would like to see previous episodes, add American Medicine Today to your favorite streaming apps. If you have any comments or questions, contact us at the numbers below. Or you can tweet at Dr. Bonati using the hashtag American Medicine Today or hashtag AMT. We would like to hear from you.